Okay, let's get this party started.
This is the birth of time. It may make Koch go out of his mind. We live in proud. That is a place where the spirit himself will show his face. This is the birth of time. It may make Koch go out of his mind. We live in Prague. That is our place, where the spirit himself will show his face. This is the birth of time. And man Koch go out of his mind. He living pride. That is our place, where the spirit himself will show his face. Come on, Mark Maron, top that. Love this glitch. Magical night. Come back. Come on, John Cruz. Come back. Please. Okay, now let's take a break. I was wandering into Ummagumma territory there. John Cruz would know about this. He's writing a book all about the post-Sid Pink Floyd, of which I have a few opinions, mainly good, certainly on that Ummagumma album and some of the soundtrack albums they did. I'm a Sid kind of guy through and through, so for me a little bit of the original sparkle and magic went out. But that's just me. It's almost, I was thinking the other night of Frank because in that last Zappa documentary that the guy He did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure put together. There was a bit where Frank got very defensive about some of his original, let's say, high school intellectual fans, disaffected youth freaks, in other words, turning their back on him and the Mothers once the Flo and Eddie era more or less kicked in. No offense to those guys. Ainsley Dunbar. I saw the original Mothers I mentioned here in '68, and so I guess I'd be one of those people. I mean, I did follow it through, I don't know, up to about Weasels, Rip My Flesh, and some good stuff there, but somehow the magic and also the way Herbie Cohn and Frank kind of got rid of those guys is, well, it's humorous, I mean, for the teller of the tale, but I'm certainly not for those guys who mounted a lawsuit that seemed to be not too much avail. I'm sorry, because Bunk Gardner just had, I think, an anniversary of just posting with him. But basically what they concocted was mostly those guys were living in the basement of Frank's house, aka the log cabin in Laurel Canyon, and that had been their bread and butter, albeit I think no one ever got paid more than a couple $100 a week. But it was steady work, and it was, they did get paid, and they were housed mainly on the property, on the premises, but Frank had other ambitious ideas in mind. So we called a band meeting. Herbie put him up to this and basically said, okay, remember what you guys, when we agreed to form this group, we all signed some sort of partnership agreement, right? That was talking about equal splits and everything. Yep, okay. Well, we're way in the hole right now. So let you guys off the hook. I'll tell you, each of you owe me $2,786.19, and I'll forgive the debt if you just agreed not to carry on as the Mothers. And they didn't know how to come back on that one, and that was the end of that. I mean, yes, I have similar stories I could relate about other people who are still living. I think I'm okay to tell that one. It's been documented, certainly. It was in the Pauline Butcherbird book about Frank, and she saw it up close and personal. Now Herbie is gone, Frank is gone. Some of those Mothers are still alive, though, and kicking, and yeah, I think that was sort of cruel. But, Frank was convinced that they couldn't cut the charts that he was preparing in his mind. But I would say, having seen them live, they were pretty good, pretty accomplished musicians, all of them. I'm sure, had he had a little more patience, that they could have done whatever he'd asked of them. And they were certainly, loyal to him and behind him. But can I tell you, Frank was in search of new blood, as sometimes you have to be. You don't want to stagnate here in this musical pond here, and become pond scum. All right, so now it's almost 11 Eastern Standard Time. What did I do? What did I do today? Well, I was involved in a session for a song I wrote with a TV producer here, and also he's a professor at City College, and he's doing a 4-part series for the city of New York about the immigrant experience in New York City. And so it was a song that I composed. He was the lyricist. Caroline is the casting director. One big, happy, incestuous family. Is it not? She's in there watching Mary Tyler Moore reruns on Netflix. I'm going to join her imminently. I find them very relaxing. I've seen Seinfeld, God knows, hundreds of times now in the cycle over and over again. Love it, can quote you chapter and verse there, but anyway, Mary Tyler Moore always hit the spot. Now they're on season 2, and she's watching progression, and this is, where Chuckles the Clown, and Cloris Leachman comes into, some great moments. We all recall them fondly. But, so I was working on this song in a studio, my favorite studio right now, Rivington Music Studios down on the Lower East Side. Recently did the World of Captain Beefheart rehearsals down Very, very nice, comfortable rooms. I recommend them. Cheap, not too expensive. The studios go in New York for rehearsal purposes, and I was teaching them this song. Fei Fei Yang, my longtime partner in my Chinese pop project, is singing on it, and also Carmen Maria, a young Argentinian singer who's excellent, and they're both in the film, which they're going to be shooting some of it this week, and unfortunately I can't be there for that because Thursday I'm going up to Cambridge, Massachusetts, to get situated there in Boston for an appearance on Friday, a free appearance at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in Cambridge, Mass, in a black box theater with an excellent dancer. She's the principal dancer of the Met Opera, Alison Clancy. And I relayed the story of how I met her. She was at my 40th anniversary show on 9/11 last year at Le Poisson Rouge, the Red Fish, for you non-French speakers. A great club in New York City, and she was taking clips of galore. Her uncle Tom Brigham, who's a longtime fan, had brought her there. She didn't know much about me, I guess. Well, that's not unusual. Anyway, she was quite taken with it and posted them. I reposted them, and I reached out to her and asked her what she was up to. So she did the longest solo dance to Richard Wagner's overture to The Flying Dutchman at the Met in 2020, before lockdown. And she said, I have this gig doing it again to the recorded symphonic track. I don't know whose version, but a good one. And do you think you could learn a version? Could you arrange the overture on electric guitar? I said, why, certainly. Because I love a challenge, and I've done a lot of classical arrangements in my style, in my day. And why not this? So I've been working hard. Oh, have I been working on this score? Hundreds of times, and I did it by ear. That's the only way I know how to do it. And it's sounding really good, and I'm using some effects. And there's a freestyle section at the end where she's going to do a little freestyle dancing, because basically she is dancing a dance that was choreographed by Carolyn Schwa, who's a very well-known Chinese-American choreographer. Very well-known in the ballet world. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going up on Thursday on the train with Tom Brigham, who's helping me shepherd all these effects. You know, it's not every day that I take many of these on the road anymore. Those days are over. But for this one, I think I'm going to pull all the stops out, sort of. Well, you know the joke, right? Why did J.S. Bach have so many children? Question. Answer, because his organ didn't have any stops. Okay. Well, it's a little classical music joke for you guys. Yeah, I'm going to bring most of them up there, courtesy of the heavy lifting of Tom. Thank you in advance. And the show is Friday night, I think at 8. There are details on my website. I'm sure it's on the MIT site. I couldn't tell you where we're playing, but it's a black box theater, and it's free. I think you can get a ticket, a nominal seat at this event. Just follow the prompts online. And I'll be back Saturday, but that means there will be no Thursday night live stream, which is okay by me. I love doing them. I hope you enjoy them. You know, I'm going to continue doing them when I can, but certainly not while I'm on the road anymore. It doesn't seem. It's just one more little added bit of pressure, courage on me at that juncture, and I don't really enjoy that so much. You know, I'd like it to be a comfortable ride for you and for me. And so, okay, what am I involved in reading now? I got a great book called The Stone 65 through 67, which are photos by Jared Mankiewicz, who took a lot of the classic photos in that period, including the cover to Aftermath, I believe. Between the Buttons, definitely. And Jared Mankiewicz is a very great photographer, the son of the British Jewish playwright Wolf Mankiewicz, who wrote the script for Espresso Bongo and some other great classic British films of the day, back in the day. And he's still going. And this book is chock-a-block with great photos of the Stones. If you're a Stones fan, as I am, you will love this book. I recommend it highly. You can find copies, I don't know, on all sorts of places on the net. Some more expensive than others. Do a little search and find it, but certainly worthy of your perusal. If you're a Stones fan, like I say, I'm still reeling from my first experience seeing these guys. October 30th, 1965 at the Syracuse War Memorial. They will live in my heart forever. And that's my favorite period, as it more or less is of music, is sort of this mid-60s, early 70s explosion of psychedelia and style and fashion. And, the guy who hired Jared Mankiewicz, Andrew Lou Goldham, is one of the greats and a good friend, and more about him anon. And so, okay, I guess that will wrap it up for the moment. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I enjoyed playing. Oh yeah, that was Magic Night by the Plastic People of the Universe, my buddies. One of their hits. Václav Havel came to see us play at the old knitting factory and so on and so forth. Anyway, love you guys, and I'll see you real soon. Keep watching the skies. Okay.